to go over a couple different busing scenarios. One is inside Pro Tools, where I group multiple tracks and send it out as stereo output to 2 channels of my board. The other is completely out of the box, where I use my console's busing scheme to group multiple tracks, send it out to a compressor, and return it to 2 channels of the board. Drum tracks are kick in, kick out, snare top, snare bottom, tom, floor tom, stereo overhead left and right, capturing the cymbals, hi-hats, mono room mic, and then a stereo room left and right. 12 drum tracks altogether. Those 12 drum tracks I have grouped in Pro Tools, coming out a stereo auxiliary track that has the API 2500 on it, coming to channel 25 and 26. Additionally, I have the same tracks coming out, the hollow reverb plugin on it, to echo return 1 and 2. Now, plugins sound better when you bring them out to a board that has transformers on it. It fattens them up a little bit. That's the Pro Tools busing scenario. The board busing scenario is, you see these red lights here? These are the drum tracks. I have them all stereo coming out of my patch bay, going to my API 2500, and returning to channel 27 and 28. Additionally, I have echo return 1 that I'm using on all the drum tracks dialed in, coming up, hitting my PCM 60 here. Then it comes down to echo return 3 and 4. These drums, I'm trying to get an exaggerated sound out of them. So I'm using quite a bit of compression. And for the drum bus compression, as you know, in the box, I have the API 2500. And out of the box for the drum bus, I have the API 2500. If you look at the settings on this API 2500, they are the exact same as the plugin. The only difference is, look at the output gain. I got it way jacked up. Additionally, if you look, the Pro Tools busing, I have the faders up quite a bit compared to the board busing. And the reason why is I wanted to try and match the size and the level. I had to turn up the in-the-box busing scenario. Alright, so that pretty much sums up what we got going on. Let's just go over the compression really fast. DBX 160, I have kick and snare. So that's inside kick and snare top. Outside kick, I have nothing on, and snare bottom, I have nothing on. The stereo overheads, I have the germaniums. These are amazing compressors that sound great on literally everything I've ever put them on. Next up is just the modern classic. I have the distressors on stereo room. And above that, the Fatso's not being used. The API 2500 we know is on drum bus. The Allen Smart C2 and Elysia X filter is on the mix bus of the board. The DBX 160As are on toms, only doing like 1-2 dB of gain reduction. And last but not least, I have the explosive one and only Dynamite on mono room. I just love blowing rooms out with that. If you've seen my other videos, you know I like doing that. So that is all the outboard. Okay, so what I did there was really fast. Dialed in some levels and got my panning how I wanted it. Let's hear the bussing with the in the box. I am going to engage that and put on the Valhalla reverb. And that sounds like this. Now I'm going to take that away and I am going to engage the console's bussing scenario, and that sounds like this. The kick drum sounds absolutely massive when I use the bussing on the board. And the snare sounds very fat too, but almost a little too fat in a way to where I'm not hearing top end that I want to hear. So what I'm going to do is I am going to leave the reverb off for now, just leave the bussing on, and I am going to solo out the snare, and I am going to add some EQ. So let me normalize the EQ and let's hear this snare. Yeah, so that might sound a little bit on the bright side on its own, but in the mix we will hear the splat of that come through with the top end and that engaged. So let's hear just the kick and snare, because I'm using the console EQ for kick and snare right now. And I also have a pull tech on the snare. So I am gonna play it with the EQ and then remove the EQ, console EQ, so we could hear it, and here's the kick and the snare solo. And now all together in the mix with the verb, here we go. Alright, so basically different textures, and depending on what you are going for, one might be better than the other. I like the clarity in the mid-range of the Pro Tools bussing, but there's an overall inherent subharmonic content to the console bussing that is just beautiful. It's almost further back, but wider dimensional, but somehow seems to pop out of the speakers more. I don't know if that'll come across on YouTube, but it is definitely here. I am going to turn this back down and match the levels again, and we'll hear the difference between the two.